Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. We made it through another week. A couple of things for our assignments today. Nothing too out of the ordinary with our assignments today. Something a little new to start our Friday off. I put in a PE assignment. Usually on Fridays we have PE with Mrs. Westendorf, and kind of gets our bodies moving and getting some exercise in there. So I put in something that's pretty simple. You might need your parents' help to do this, to time you, but I want you to be timed for a minute and see how many jumping jacks you can do. Remember, jumping jacks is when you jump up in the air and your hands go up and then down, up and down, and your legs go out as well. So see how many jumping jacks you can do and let me know. I'd love to see who can do the most in a minute. Make sure you're doing good jumping jacks and you're counting carefully, okay? Third and fourth graders, keep working on that social studies. Remember, that's not due till Tuesday, but hopefully you picked out at least a president by now, and that you've started to think about where you're going to find some facts, whether that's online or in books. But start thinking about those things, and don't put it off until Monday. Spelling today, you should be done. Yesterday, you should have finished up your unit 27. And today you should at least take the spelling test. It's up there on the site there. I put the link up there again for you, so that way you are all set with regards to that. All right. On to the individual grades. Super Kids, today I want you to write the letter R, big and small, 10 times. Then also write your new sentence that we went through yesterday. Write that 3 times and read it out loud. Then last week I sent home a story. I texted a story to your mom. Reread that with your mom out loud. See if you can pick out some of those other words like bus and those types of words. And then also do 2 more sheets of your R packet from this week. All right? All right, keep up the good work there, Lauren. First graders, I'll continue to stress, make sure you're reading every single night, no matter what that might be. Make sure you keep reading. Reading is so very important. For your math class today, first graders, you are going to be looking at, on the fact sheet, just a bunch of adding problems, front and back. Not too hard. There's no subtracting today on that. But on the second page, you are subtracting. You're going to be taking things away from 10. So if I had 10 items and I take away 2, I have 8 left. So you're going to do that sheet there, figuring out all the subtracting. Then on your assignment today, number 1, you're going to write number 92 out. Then number 2, it says Mark had 7 pet frogs. He gave 2 of his frogs to his friend Christopher. So you're going to draw me some frogs. Do as best you can. I know frogs are a little trickier to draw. And if he gave 2 of them to his friend, are we going to add or subtract? We're going to take away. We're going to subtract those. So you start 7 minus 2, and then write how many frogs were left. How many frogs were left after you cross 2 of them off. Number 3, color all the pennies. There's 4 of them that are pennies and 1 of them that's a nickel. Do you remember how much a nickel is worth? 5 cents. So you do 5 and then add 4 to it, and then tell me how much money that is. On number 4, you have 3 different circles. The one that's divided into fourths, 4 pieces, color 1 piece red, and one that's divided into half, that's into 2 pieces, put an X below it, and color one piece blue. Then at the bottom, you have 43 cents and 26 cents. You got to write them in the box. So the milk was 43 cents, the cereal was 26 cents, and then add them straight down. And then, there's no line for an answer, so you just have to write it down, okay? On the back side, the only thing that's a little different is number 1. Circle the number that is between 25 and 35. There's one of them that's between those 2 numbers. Circle that number. Otherwise, everything else is exactly the same. Make sure you're writing your words nice and carefully and nice and dark so I can read it. And keep up the good work with your math. For your reading, yesterday I posted the video on our YouTube page for your story. So make sure you read that one. That one's called When I Am Old With You. Because you're going to have to look at that for page 199. On 199, they give you a small little section of that story, and you're going to draw me a picture. You're going to be the illustrator, the person that draws a picture. Make sure you color the pictures after you draw it on page 199, okay? On page 200, you need to write 5 sentences about things that Granddaddy and the child in our story were going to do when they got old. So, go back to that story, look at that story, and tell me 5 things that they were going to do together. Number 201, you need to look at the picture at the top of the page and write 2 sentences about 2 silly things that are happening. So find 2 silly things that are happening and then write them on the lines below. And then number 202, use those words there to fill in the blank. That one should be pretty simple. They're all I words: buy, my, fly, try, cry, and why. Pretty simple there. All right? Make sure you read that story or listen to that story, because you won't be able to do a couple of those pages without listening to that story. So make sure you go to YouTube and listen to it. All right, Rodney, for your reading story, or for your reading today, you need to read Wagon Wheels. It starts on page 118 of your hardcover book, and then do the 5 questions at the end. And then also do a little paragraph, 4 or 5 sentences long, about the right about, which comes after number 5, to kind of answering some questions about what happens if you were to live during the pioneer days. The whole story takes place in the past, during the pioneers, when people were traveling out west or living out on the prairie. It's kind of like the Little House on the Prairie, the read aloud we were doing. How would you like to live back then? There's a bunch of questions you can answer. So make sure you answer those questions. Write a good paragraph. You've been doing pretty good at that, so keep up that good work. On page 39, for your vocab words, you have all your words up there at the top, and each word has a letter next to it. So like prairie is an A, dugout is a B, and so forth. What you need to do is they give you a choice of what the answer is, and you need to circle the letter that goes with the answer. So like the first one, all the paper is in the blank closet. Is it prairie, dugout, carpenter, supply, stew, or feast? Well, I think it's supply closet. So that's letter D. So I find the D and I circle that for number 1. Okay, and then you do the rest of those. You only use each word 1 time, so it should be pretty simple there. Then on the backside, again, working with summarizing. Remember, when we summarize something, it always makes sure that you stick to the details. Or when you summarize the story, you don't put in your extra summary or extra details that weren't in the story. You always got to make sure that you stay to the topic that was at hand that you were reading. So you have to read at someone wrote 3 different summaries from the wagon wheel story that you read just now. And you got to pick out which one do you think is the best summary, which one tells about everything in the story, not just maybe one part or this part, but the whole story. Okay. And then at the bottom it says, tell me why do you think the other 2 paragraphs weren't good summaries? Okay. And tell me why you said those 2 probably weren't that good. All right. Second graders, your math today. Today you're going to be taking a look at some fact problems. You have some subtracting problems. You're going to be doing the first one. You're the teacher, so you got to find the 5 mistakes, circle them, and write them correctly next to it. Write the correct answer next to it. Then on the back you have a bunch of subtracting. Then 1A, you're going to be subtracting by 8s. Not too hard there. You guys have been doing that for many, many, many times. Problem solving. This is a little bit, it's a pretty easy assignment, but if you just pay attention and listen to this, I'll give you some pretty easy clues here to get this done. You got to finish the patterns. This is the whole part of this, is that they're finishing patterns here. So it says, in Miss Cullum's class on the first page, the children will use 5 pieces of writing paper each. So 1 child makes 5, 2, 10, 3, 15. Okay, so on the top of the box you're going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and on the bottom count by 5, 10, 15, all the way up. And it says how many pieces of paper will 6 children use? So whatever you put on that last box, write that on the line. Then you're going to do the same thing on the back side, except you're counting using 2 movable eyes. So you got to count by 2s there. Okay, it should be very simple, I think, as long as you get that concept. All right. Second grade reading. You guys are going to be skipping page 73 and 74 and jumping right to 75. You're doing 75 to 78 today. On the first page, 75, you're just using those words to fill in the blank. These are a little bit trickier of words, but I think you should be able to handle them and use those to fill in the blank. On the next page, 76, deals with cause and effect. I did this with Rodney just the other day. Cause and effect. Because it was hot outside, the effect, my ice cream cone melted. All right. So what you need to do is go back. This is all from the story Little Grunt and the Big Egg, and they'll sometimes give you the cause, or sometimes they'll give you effect. So an egg hatches into a baby dinosaur. Because that egg hatched into a dinosaur, this effect, well, those grunts were very surprised. So there's your answer for number one. But then, like number two, it says George is sent away. Well, why was George sent away? Because George was getting too big for the cave. So because George was too big for the cave, George was sent away. So that's what you have to do there. Figure out the cause, or what was the effect of that. Okay? Page 77, you need to find the A-R, O-R, E-R, I-R, or U-R words. So I would really look for the letter R. These will either go down or across. There's 10 of them hidden in that word search. Then you got to write the ones that start with A-R. There's 3 of them that you're going to find. They go on 1, 2, and 3. The O-R, there's 3 of those. Go on 4, 5, and 6. And then E-R, I-R, or U-R, those go for 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right? All right. That should be pretty simple. Third graders, I'm not going to go a whole lot into math for you today. You're on lesson 90. I'd like to, today at 2 o'clock, all the third graders to try to jump on a Zoom meeting. Use the same code that you would use for our morning meeting. I'm going to be on there maybe for 20 minutes or so to just kind of go over our math from this week. Make sure that we're getting the division, we're understanding how to do the multiplication fact families. Make sure that you're understanding how to divide things into equal groups. Today you're doing word problems. Shouldn't take that long. Like I said, 15, 20 minutes. But I just want to make sure everyone's getting the concept, because this is a new concept, a lot of this stuff is. And it's very important that you are understanding it and learning it. So please jump on there. You have only 1 through 19 today. If you're going through your math today before that and you have questions, feel free to just save them and ask me when we jump on the Zoom. That way I can help you. Okay. So I hope to see everyone at 2 o'clock today. All right, third grade for your reading, however, 95 to 98. Page 95, you need to find all the pronoun words. So that could be he, they, it, I, we, those words. There's 5 of them in the boat. Circle them and write them on the line. Then you got to write the correct verb. They give you 2 choices, and write the word in the sentence for the bottom part, 6 through 10. On page 96, you need to replace the underlined word or words with a pronoun and rewrite the sentence. So instead of the ship drops anchor, what would we write instead of the ships? Or the ship, sorry. It. That's an it, because we know the ship isn't a he or a she or a girl or a boy. So it's not a they, so it's an it. It's a thing. So it drops anchor. That's what you do right for number 1. And then you do that for the rest of the number through 10. And then for 97, you got to combine those 2 sentences using either the word and or to make a new sentence. Don't repeat the word. So like the first one, it says, you talk to the captain, I talk to the captain. Well, talk to the captain was repeated in both of those. So you and I talk to the captain. All right? All right, great. Oh, sorry. And then page 98, you can cross that one off. I put that in your sheet today. All right. Math for 4th graders, Leah and Trey. You guys have a math test. Mr. Wasser should be getting that to you. Make sure you work hard on it. Do keep doing well on your math. And if you have any questions, feel free to get in contact with him. Page 81 for Leah, Javon, and Dylan for your reading today. You need to find the words that are misspelled, 6 of them in the story. Write them on the line for 1 through 6. And then 7 through 15, write the words that best finish the sentence or that little paragraph there. On the back part, you're going to be looking at the words, the verb be. And there's different words for the form word be. It could be is, are, was, were. You got to replace and write the correct form of those. Remember, present tense, if it's happening right now. Past is in the past. And the future, I don't think there's any future on this page. So, yeah. So, like number 1, the tree blank the property of the new ranch owner. So, if it's happening right now, you'd say the tree is. So, you write is on the line. But like number 2, it says, since it's more than one, apples, you wouldn't say the apples is ripe, the apples are ripe. So be careful with that, okay? On page 83, you got to write the past tense form of each one of those words. Now, these are special words, so you can't just add ed to them. So, like number 1, the storyteller blank many wonderful tales. You wouldn't say knowed. The storyteller knew. Number 2, she blanked a mask with her. She didn't bringed, she brought. All right, so be very careful with that. Those are those special irregular verbs. Otherwise, on page 84, there's nothing. It's blank, so you don't have to do anything there. You can draw me a picture, I guess, if you don't like. But otherwise, everything else should be pretty self-explanatory there. So keep up the good work, everyone. Keep up doing your work really well. I've had few to little corrections, which has been awesome. It makes, for me, correcting it a whole lot easier with all the good work that you guys are all doing. So keep up the good work. Have a great weekend this weekend. I hope I get to see lots of you here shortly, here in about an hour and a half or so, 2 hours. For our Zoom meeting, we have a special guest, and it's going to be pretty cool to see who that is. They got a pretty fun activity for us planned. So I hope I see you there. Or in third graders, I hope I see you later on this afternoon for our math Zoom. Otherwise, I'll see all of you guys back, and we'll be back at it on Monday. All right, have a great weekend. Bye.